So this video is dedicated to why college fails students. College fails students. I was a college student and I graduated with a medical coding certificate in 2010, and I'm a cashier now. That's my job. I make $8 an hour as a cashier. What's wrong with this picture? More and more kids are going to colleges today. There's more of an emphasis of schooling and higher education. And students are coming at it, they're graduating, and they're not able to fulfill careers. They're not able to enter into the workforce. So they go to school for 3-5 years. They're in tremendous debt, student loans, and whatnot. And they're not able to obtain gainful employment in their profession. This is a serious question that I have. And lately, I've had, basically I would call them predators, bullies, who have called me about 6-7 times a day. Berkeley University, Harvard University, some online colleges have called me, and they've tried to sell me their education. I tell them I'm not interested. I do not want to further my education, but yet they continue to call. I tell them, do not put me on the call list. What do? They put me on the call list and they continue to call me. Now I know all these numbers. By now I've written them down, and I have them in a mental data bank in my brain. So I just ignore the calls. But they frequently call and they harass me, and I'm tired of the harassment. So my question I pose is there some kind of government kickback to these college institutions? I think there is. Because why do they push so hard for young adults, intelligent adults, to further their education, when you can go online and learn for free, learn a trade or a skill with the click of a button? You don't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to learn a trade or a skill. I mean, hell, you could become a doctor. I mean, you could study the heart, you could study the different parts of the body, the anatomy of the body, and I mean, do you necessarily need a degree in the profession? All it is a piece of paper, people. That's all it is. I got my medical coding certificate in 2010. It's the year 2017, approaching 2018, and I still don't have a job as a medical coder. What does a medical coder do? What is their relevance? A medical coder, if it wasn't for a medical coder, hospitals would not get their reimbursement claims. They would not be reimbursed for the procedures and the diagnoses that they provide to patients. So, for example, if a patient has a heart attack and they get treated with a bypass graft surgery, or we call cabbage for short, they won't, get reimbursed for it. And there's codes that I provide. There's a code book, and basically the procedure that is provided by the doctor, I fill out a reimbursement form called a CMS 1500 form. That form is completed and sent to the proper insurance providers, whether that is Blue Cross Blue Shield or some other insurance company. So why are more and more students going to college? That's my question. What's the point? You're going to waste your time and you're going to waste your money, ultimately. These so-called advisors and professors and they're just there to make a buck. They don't care about your education. They don't care whether or not you further your career, whether or not you're able to obtain employment in the profession. They don't give a shit. Because a lot of these universities, I call them back and I have a conversation with them. And I say, well, do you help with job placement services? Resume creation and whatnot. No, we don't do that. Or they do it, but they don't guarantee that you're going to get the job. No, you call up any college, okay, for any profession that you're interested in pursuing, and you ask the advisor, you say, sir or ma'am, what is the likelihood that I am going to get a job in this profession? Do you have job placement services? A lot of colleges don't. And that's where they fail. Yeah. That's why I'm a cashier. I make $8 an hour. Am I proud of my job? No. I hate my job. I hate it. But it's gainful employment. I'm able to put a roof over my head and feed myself. But I went to about 10 years of schooling. For what? I got an associate liberal arts degree, general liberal arts degree. That took me about 4 years to obtain. And then it took me another 2 years to get a medical coding certificate. With 6, 8 years, whatever. It took many years of my life. Not to account for the hardships and the challenges that I had to face. I didn't have access to a vehicle, so I lived in New York at the time. I live in Michigan now, but I lived in New York at one point. And there was public transportation, but still it cost me like $200-300 I had to shell out of my pocket every semester. That adds up, right? So, these so-called advisors, they'll tell you anything to sell you. Okay? Don't buy into their bullshit. You can learn this stuff online if you got half a brain. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. It really doesn't. If I really wanted to dedicate myself, I could start studying. I could be a cardiovascular surgeon if I wanted to. Maybe it would take me 5-6 years to pursue it. Just because you don't have a degree or a piece of paper telling you are certified to be a doctor or a lawyer doesn't mean that you cannot be one or have the skills or the knowledge set to be that person. So if you agree with that, if you agree or you disagree, you can disagree with what I'm saying. Maybe some folks graduated college and were able to obtain meaningful employment and careers. If you did, God bless you. Maybe you can tell me what I'm doing wrong or what 90% of the average student population cannot do. Because I don't think I'm a stupid individual. I'm a pretty intelligent person. So there's got to be a reason behind it. Whether or not it's an agenda, I don't know. I will tell you one story before I end this video. And it's very telling of the corrupt practices that go on with our government, with academic institutions. I went to a technical university. I wanted to become a nurse, CNA. And I went to this technical university. I'm not going to say what university it was, because I don't want to get sued. Okay? But this university I went to, and they greeted me. They were very hospitable to me, very polite and kind, And they gave me, I just was inquiring about the school in general. And they ushered me into their room, their cubicle. And the advisor said, you can have a gainful career and make a lot of money doing this profession, a meaningful career that you're going to enjoy and love. The whole spiel. Okay? So he tried to sell me this. But he said, first of all, why don't you take this test? We just have a basic placement test that you have to take to see if you can register into our institution. So I was like, well, what can this hurt, right? So I took this placement test. What he didn't tell me was, after I took the placement test, that I would be enrolled into the school. He was dishonest. So after I take the test, he talks about, well, what kind of income do you have? He tells me. I said, well, I'm working at McDonald's. I don't really make very much money. And he says to me, well, do you know across the street there's a Chuck E. Cheese's? And I said, yes. He says, would you like to be a manager there? In a few years, you could be a manager. And I said, what are you talking about? I was miffed by what he said. I said, yeah, with the right, you seem to be a very inspired, self-promoting, inspired, motivated individual. And I think that you could, you can do it. I could make a few calls and I could get you a job over there. And that way you could pay off the debt that the school would incur to you. Because they did a financial aid analysis or whatnot. They said I $10,000 or whatnot if I would get in financial aid. But the school was like $20,000 or $25,000. I don't remember. $25,000 a semester. Some crazy amount. And so, well, I don't have $15,000. And he said, well, I can get you a job at Chuck E. Cheese's around the corner. Because I told him I had transportation difficulties as well, getting to work and back and such. And if I can get you a secondary job, I'll get you a job at Chuck E. Cheese's. And he picks up his phone, ready to call the manager of Chuck E. Cheese's. I was so disgusted at that point, I just left the room. He walked out of the room and he said, what's the matter? What's the matter? And then I said, I have to leave. I have to get out of here. Luckily enough, there was a bunch of paperwork that I had to sign, and I had to look over it because he was trying to hoodwink me into selling into his school. Sign this, sign that. Oh no, nothing is mandatory. Blah blah blah. And turned out that I enrolled in the school and I was responsible to pay the $15,000 in student loan debt, whether or not I attended the school or not. But there was a 7-day, it said within 7 days if you write a note explaining why you want to not be enrolled in this institution, and it's a legitimate reason, we will honor this, and we will disqualify you, disenroll you from the institution. So I was able to get out of it. But this is the kind of slick, sleazy behaviors that go on in our academic institutions. So, of course, I believe there's some kind of government kickbacks going on too. Why they're attacking or harassing young, intelligent adults. And why young? Why young students? Because young students, because that gives them a more longevity, you see. They have a longer span of time that they can pay off the debt. So they're not gonna go after their target is not going to be older people. So they think, well, he's 70, 80 years old, he's gonna croak, he's gonna die. He's not gonna be able to pay most of the debt off. So they'll go to a 20, 30-year-old prospective student and they'll try to persuade them into becoming, enrolling into their institution. It's disgusting. It really is. The corrupt practices that both our government and our academic institutions engage in. Just to make a buck. You gotta think about it. And I mean, all these colleges, $20,000, $30,000. Why are they so expensive? Of course, there's government. And then they all say, we got financial aid options. We got financial aid. Why do they got financial? And why do they try to make it so easy to get financial aid? Think about it. How much of that money do you think is really going to you, the students? I bet you quite a bit of that is undocumented sums of money that goes in the pockets of the institutions and the government. There's a kickback. So these corrupt practices need to end. They need to stop. Stop forcing young, educated students, individuals into your institutions. Stop it. Really. If somebody really wants to go into your institution, get that darn degree, that piece of paper, don't force it on them. Don't push them to do it. It's their voluntary choice. Okay? It's disgusting behavior, and it needs to end. So that's my video. If you agree with what I'm saying, if you feel that the government and our academic institutions are corrupt and prey on intelligent individuals, please like, subscribe, or tell me your opinions. Even if you disagree with what I'm saying, I like to listen. I like to hear what you have to say. If Big Brother decides to censor this video. Let Big Brother censor the video. And you'll really know that it just would reaffirm the fact that our government is a bunch of lying thieves. So they would just prove my point. So they're not really proving anything. So let them censor the video. Let them block it from YouTube. And you guys will know. I guess my point is, I don't want intelligent individuals, young kids, okay, because this is the new generation. These are the millennials. I'm talking to all the millennials here. I don't want you to waste your time. I don't want you to waste your money. If you want to learn a skill or a trade, go online and study it for free. Read the books. Then if at that point you want to get the piece of paper, you want to get the degree, do it. But then at least you have to come in there with the knowledge set. Ace the classes, you wouldn't have a problem. But that's my, any academic institution now that calls me I just hang up the phone. They call you, hang up the phone. Don't even give them a nickel of your time. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope that this video enlightens those that are thinking about furthering their education and will make them rethink what they are going to do, and they don't waste their time and their money. Thank you.